I've said all along that of the cases out there right now, the one I'd be most concerned about if I were the former president is the Mar-a-Lago document case.
And why so?
Because it doesn't go a lot on intent or anything like that. It's very clear that he had no business having those documents. He was given a long time to send them back, and they were subpoenaed. And if there's any games being played there, he's going to be very exposed.
Given the developments in the grand jury, do you believe that special counsel Jack Smith is close to a charging decision?
I would think they'd want to do it before the end of the year. It could be later in the summer or in the fall, would be the earliest I would expect it.
And why that timing?
Well, because if they're close to a decision, I think the process of, reviewing that and socializing it with the Attorney General and so forth, and buttoning it up would probably take that long.
I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. In the past 3 days alone, 3 of Donald Trump's former top lawyers have all thrown him under the bus. 3 separate former top Trump lawyers, each saying that Donald Trump is either going to be indicted soon, is going to go to jail soon, or that Donald Trump's so-called defense strategy in connection with special counsel Jack Smith's ongoing criminal investigation is completely moronic. So first, let me show you Bill Barr, Donald Trump's former attorney general. Bill Barr states that he thinks that special counsel Jack Smith's criminal investigation into Donald Trump's theft of government records is a case where Donald Trump has a lot of criminal exposure, and he believes indictments can be here as soon as later this summer, August or even September. Here, play this clip.
I've said all along that of the cases out there right now, the one I'd be most concerned about if I were the former president is the Mar-a-Lago document case.
And why so?
Because it doesn't go a lot on intent or anything like that. It's very clear that he had no business having those documents. He was given a long time to send them back, and they were subpoenaed. And if there's any games being played there, he's going to be very exposed.
Given the developments in the grand jury, do you believe that special counsel Jack Smith is close to a charging decision?
I would think they'd want to do it before the end of the year. It could be later in the summer or in the fall, would be the earliest I would expect it.
And why that timing?
Well, because if they're close to a decision, I think the process of, reviewing that and socializing it with the Attorney General and so forth, and buttoning it up would probably take that long.
Next, I want to show you the former top White House attorney, Ty Cobb, another Trump lawyer right here. And here, Trump's former lawyer, Ty Cobb, you'll hear it for yourself, says that he believes Donald Trump is going to be criminally indicted and go to jail, serve jail time for his theft of government records. Play this clip.
I would not necessarily expand the case to try to prove the Espionage Act piece of it, because there's so much evidence of guilty knowledge on the espionage piece that all they really have to do is show that Trump moved these documents at various times when DOJ was either demanding them or actually present, that he filed falsely with the Justice Department, had his lawyers file falsely with the Justice Department an affidavit to the effect that that none existed, which was shattered by the documents that they then discovered after the search, and the many other misrepresentations that he and others have made on his behalf with regard to his possession of classified documents. So I think this obstruction case is a tight case. And yes, I do think he'll go to jail on it.
Okay, let's go for the hat trick. Donald Trump's other former top lawyer, Tim Parlatore.
One of my favorite comedy podcasts, Love It or Leave It, is a liberal fever dream term variety show recorded live on stage and delivered to your ears every Saturday. Now, each episode, host John Lovett is joined by an all-star lineup of comedians, journalists, and experts to break down the week's most absurd headlines in news, politics, and pop culture. Come for the wacky games and surprise characters. Stay for the unexpected rants about the Supreme Court Justice Sugar Daddy, Harlan Crow. Now, not only can you listen to the show on your favorite podcast platform, but you can also catch the funniest bits on Love It or Leave It YouTube channel. How's that for convenience? Highly recommend checking it out and subscribing today.
Parlatore was the lead lawyer in charge of Donald Trump's defense, putting together a defense in connection with special counsel Jack Smith's ongoing criminal investigations into Trump's theft of thousands of government records and obstruction of justice. Here is what Parlatore had to say. Play this clip.
Infighting is certainly nothing new in Trump world. Is there any specific instance of something that he did to, as you say, prevent you from being able to properly represent your client?
Oh, sure. I mean, he served as kind of a filter to prevent us from getting information to the client and getting information from the client. In my opinion, he was not very honest with us or with the client on certain things. There were certain things like the searches that he had attempted to interfere with. And then more recently, as we're coming down to the end of this investigation where Jack Smith and ultimately Merrick Garland is going to make a decision as to what to do, as we put together our defense strategy to help educate Merrick Garland as to how best to handle this matter, he was preventing us from engaging in that strategy.
You said that Boris tried to prevent you from conducting searches. What searches are those?
This is the searches at Bedminster initially. There was a lot of pushback from him where he didn't want us doing the search, and we had to eventually overcome him.
Why didn't he want you doing the search?
I don't know. Boris is, he is a lawyer. He spent about 18 months at a big firm doing transactional work, and I think he just thinks based on the experience he knows better than all of us.
And you hear what Parlatore said there at the end of the clip, which is that his overall defense strategy, he was being overruled by Boris Epshteyn, one of Donald Trump's other lawyers, which really means that's all coming from Donald Trump. The remaining lawyers who are there with Donald Trump clearly don't know that MAGA stands for Make Attorneys Get Attorneys, and or they don't care. One lawyer that I didn't mention in that list of three, but there's other news, so we might as well have said 4 lawyers in 3 days. Evan Corcoran, who didn't intentionally throw Donald Trump under the bus. He actually tried to obstruct what the Department of Justice was trying to do, but the Department of Justice got a federal judge to compel Evan Corcoran to turn over his notes. And what we learned earlier in the day is that Evan Corcoran, in connection with his defense of Donald Trump as part of special counsel Jack Smith's ongoing criminal investigation, and before it got handed over to Jack Smith when it was in an investigative posture by the FBI and the DOJ, Evan Corcoran took about 50 pages of handwritten notes where he described in detail everything that he had observed at Mar-a-Lago leading up to and after a subpoena was issued by the Department of Justice dating back to May of 2022. And in these notes, apparently, according to this article that just came out from The Guardian, according to at least 3 sources close to special counsel Jack Smith's investigation, Evan Corcoran told Donald Trump that holding on to these classified records that he stole was criminal. And there's also indications in the notes that Donald Trump instructed one of his personal aides, someone by the name of Walt Nauta, to move certain classified boxes from the storage facility to other areas in Mar-a-Lago while Evan Corcoran was conducting a search of the storage room area to respond to the Department of Justice May 2022 subpoena, which is why, as of June 3rd, 2022, when Corcoran and Christina Bobb turned over 40 classified records in response to the subpoena that was issued by the Department of Justice. They certified that after a diligent search, all documents were turned over to the Department of Justice when, in fact, there was an additional 100 plus classified records that the Department of Justice seized during the search warrant that was lawfully executed at Mar-a-Lago on August 8th of 2022. So you got Bill Barr, you got Ty Cobb, and you got Tim Parlatore, 3 lawyers. You saw their videos there throwing Donald Trump under the bus and essentially predicting doom to befall Donald Trump, which is good for justice. You could throw in as a bonus the 4th lawyer, Evan Corcoran. 4 lawyers, 3 days, folks. Big news here that we're reporting on the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We are on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your awesome support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch and wherever you get audio podcasts. Subscribe to the MeidasTouch audio podcast as well. I think you'll enjoy it. It's free. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. It's free to subscribe to our YouTube, and have a great rest of your day.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.